Hey, Cardinals fans, welcome to another episode of Birds on a Blue Note. Thanks for joining us as we cover the upcoming MLB draft that is this weekend. And we are going to be bringing you our combined mock draft of the top 10, as well as going in depth with a lot of these players, uh, strengths, weaknesses with them, as well as we feel, who the Cardinals' best options are and who could be available, because you never know how this thing could shake out at the end of the day. So, with that, we are going to hop right in. First pick of the draft is going to be with Cleveland, the Guardians. And, this can go a few different ways. Every mock is different. So, I mean, who do you guys have them taking first?
All right, want to go at the same time, or you want to go first, Zach?
You go same time if you want.
All right, ready? Three, two, one.
Bazan.
Condon. Wow, you both picked Baz? What? Charlie Condone, Golden Spike Swingers.
I, it's
I'm
not
just
that I it's not that I think that he deserves to, it's that sometimes the hottest name gets chosen. And I don't equate the Guardians with good draft strategy, if that makes sense.
let me just read off a couple of stats here, though. Set a BB Core era record, 37 home runs, led the nation in batting average, 433, slugged over 1,000, 233 total bases, OPS over 1,500. Dude's a freak. He just had one of the best college seasons ever. Um, I know Cleveland has this habit of like underslotting, trying to save money, and they may lean even like towards the Weatherholt. I think maybe the sleeper there, but Condone's just so good, and Cleveland's good this year, so they may not pick this high again for a while, and I just don't see them passing that kind of talent personally.
Travis Bazan's hands are so fast. I just look for translatable skills. I see a lot of Spencer Torkelson in the Condon, and I just don't know how you pass up on a second baseman if you go 30-30 for you.
Well, when someone breaks records slugging and hitting home runs in college, it's I don't know. That's how I see. Yeah, that I don't. This draft's so like top heavy, top 10. I think there's like three people that are like clearly head and shoulders above everyone else, but anyone 4 through 10, whoever you pick, what that team's gonna be super happy anyway. So I don't think Bazana's a bad pick. Just personally
And
don't see.
after what he did in the Cape Cod League as well, I think he had over 1,000 OPS there as well. There's too much not to like with him. Like I said, those hands are so fast too.
Oh, I really like Bazana too. I just like if I were picking number one personally, in dream scenario, Cardinals drafted lottery drafted the number one pick after that awful season we had. I would not pass on Condone personally, but what's your reasoning, Trevor?
I chalk it up to more what the Guardians typically like to do, and I just think he's the hot name right now, and I think that he's going to be the guy that they're essentially going to go with. I mean, personally, if it was me, I would actually go with Condon too at that number one spot, but I just think that that's where it's going to shake out ultimately with them. There's too much smoke behind the name right now for them to pass up on it. I feel like they might get FOMO for that front office, be like, oh, if we don't sign him, what's going to happen type of deal,
Yeah, that's true. I also feel like they could try to underslot it too. And like I said, the sleeper, I think number one is Weatherholt, personally, more so than Bizana, just because Weatherholt like was a consensus top five, probably top three before he had like the injury issues this season. And he plays shortstop. So like that's super valuable also. Plus arm. But yeah, that's not my pick. So I picked Condone. Just he broke all those records. It's he had one of the best college seasons ever, if not the best, at least batting college season ever. So that's just the reason. I don't think they would be silly enough to pass, but Bazan is not a bad compensation pick either. I'm not saying you guys are wrong. It could definitely be Bazana. Cleveland's weird, like you said. So And that wouldn't be a bad pick either. So, like I said, like the top three guys can all just go 1 through 3, and all three teams are gonna be super happy.
Yeah, and I mean, really, it comes down to, I mean, like you said, I have Charlie going next to
And I
the
have
Reds.
Bazana going next. So
Yeah, I
go.
mean, that's how it is ultimately with these things. We don't know what these teams are thinking, and like you said, who's trying to underslot, because Weatherholt might be a surprise pick that one of these teams take and get that, couple million. What is it, like 2 million discount? Roughly.
Yeah, I was just looking at it earlier. I'm terrible with memory, so uh, yeah, I'm not even gonna worry about it right now. Let's just go with the picks. This is more fun.
How about you, Zach? Who do you have going at number 2 with the Reds?
Condon, and I hate it as well. I mean, I could just see him hitting the second deck shots there in Cincinnati. I mean,
Great American Small Park.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I could see him torturing like that. That's worst case scenario for me, honestly.
He feels like a
Going to the
pick for
Reds.
them too. Yeah, like an ideal pick for the Reds.
Yeah. I mean, so with that knocked out, I mean, here we go on to number 3 already. We got the Rockies picking there, and this is where things, start to get a little interesting. I mean, I have them looking at Wake Forest guys here. How about you?
I have them also looking at Wake Forest guys here, unfortunately. For the Wake Forest guy that I have drawn in here, and unfortunately for us, who I really want to take this guy. But
Yeah, the same here. I think where there's smoke, there's fire. They've been pretty consistent about what they've been trying to do at the Rockies. So, yeah, I also think they're going to take the Wake Forest guy, but I wouldn't take Jack Tani out of the conversation for him. I mean, he can hit 500-foot shots in fours.
that's true. They seem dead set on improving the pitching. Though, like, yeah, the spoiler alert, right? We all have Chase Burns, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Which is crazy because I think he's not even as good a prospect. He's a fantastic and probably the top pitching prospect, but I think Cags is the better overall prospect. But like we all said, Colorado seems dead set on pitching. Um, I mean the guy's phenomenal. Like I was looking at, he's got 65 grade fastball, 70 grade slider, 60 grade curve, 55 grade changeup. He hits 102 with the fastball. He sits between 97, 99 regularly. And his slider's better. His slider's just a wipeout, like top line, top ace type pitch that's going to just put people away. 60% whiff rate on the slider. It's just crazy.
He's a bulldog too.
Yeah.
Dude. This fire, he's an ace. He's that guy.
Yep. And he would look good in Cardinal red, right? So
Right.
his career is probably going to fizzle in Colorado because they just can't pitch there.
John Gray type situation.
It's tough. Like who's the best pitcher they've had in the last 20 years? Ubaldo Jimenez for like a year.
Yeah.
Like, man, I feel bad for any pitcher that goes to Colorado.
No,
Really, it's
this
tough.
reminds me of the John Gray pick they had like about a decade ago, but he was throwing about
John
100
Gray's a
miles.
good pitcher. He'd be so.
100%. Exactly, but he developed in Colorado. But he had the 100-mile-an-hour fastball, good breaking ball too. Kind of flew up and just didn't work out for him. But.
Yeah, and he's got a 6'3" frame too, so he's a big tall guy, and he's got the long stretch, and like he's everything you want in a pitcher. Except I mean, unless you're looking left-handedness, he's right-handed. But yeah, like you said, ace type stuff. I mean, he can control the fastball and the slider pretty well. The changeup could use a little bit of work, and the curve could use a little bit of work, but it's good to have those secondary pitches. Keep the batters on.
The slider and the curve were so similar that I barely see it as much of a different pitch that as far as shaping is concerned. It's just a little bit more loopy, but
yeah, one breaks a little more inside and one breaks down a little bit more.
Yeah, but there's not a whole lot of like difference, I guess, necessarily in the pitch.
He has better control over the slider though, 100%. He can place that where he wants it more times than not, which is why he gets 60% whiff on it. So, which is absurd. Like that's crazy. 3 out of every 5 times someone swings that, they're gonna miss.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it helps when you're backing it up with like 102. It's like the Paul Skeens thing right now. It's like
And that's the thing right now. In like MLB, you need to have like the plus off speed more so than you have to have the plus fastball. Just because if you don't have anything aside from the fastball, MLB hitters can just sit on it, especially if you can't locate. So like having that, like, and then having the curveball and your changeup in your back pocket. And the changeup almost hits 90 miles an hour too, which is ridiculous.
It's still 10 mile an hour difference off his
Yeah,
fastball time. It's like,
good luck, right? So
Yeah. Oh, he's gonna be a pain to deal with when they're on the road.
yeah,
right.
when he's especially in St. Louis, Chase Burns at Bush, God, can already have a hard time hitting there.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on Bernsey before we move on?
Nope, just feels bad, man, because Colorado, where
Yeah.
pitchers careers go to die. So hopefully, like he's the outlier, right? Like I want to see him succeed just because he's like him and the next top pitcher in this draft are like two of my favorite prospects. I hope the Cards can get if one of them slips, but it's tough draw, right?
Yeah. You gotta hope a few teams want to underslot value and we get lucky there. But moving on to the fourth spot, we have the Athletics picking there, and I actually have them taking the other Wake Forest guy, Mr. Kurtz here. How about you guys?
Interesting. I got him taking Cags.
You got him taking.
Braden Montgomery for me.
Really?
All
Oh,
right, well,
we all
this is
disagree.
where
There we
things
go.
get interesting. Hey, Zach, let's go ahead and start off with you. Why do you think they're going to take Montgomery here?
I like the talent. He's really projectable. I mean, he's an outfielder with power. The Athletics, I just don't think they're going to take Jack. I just don't. I also don't really see them taking Nick Kurtz. Although Nick Kurtz reminds me so much of Matt Olson, it's like not even funny. But I know I just have a hunch with there's not really any rhyme or reason behind it. Just I think I just don't see them taking the Jack. And between Nick Kurtz and Montgomery, I have Montgomery just a little bit higher.
Interesting. Okay.
Switch it in outfielder, can play all three outfield positions, which is nice. He's got
Absolutely.
70 grade arms, so he's got a cannon out there. They're not going to be in the Coliseum anymore, moving forward, so he's not going to have that huge stadium to show it off. But
Yeah, he throws 96 off the mound. I mean,
yeah, he was he a pitcher? I think they said he was a pitcher in high school, and they decided in the A&M that like, no, you're too good a hitter, and got plus speed too.
well, they're right hit 27 jacks. So
Yeah, crazy. Lots of talent, like I said, top end of this draft is stacked. So
but yeah, when you have guys who could hit 30 home runs, they can play center field. I mean, it's kind of hard to pass on those guys, you know.
yeah, the arm I think projects him more to right, just because that's typically where you put your best arm. Um, but yeah, I mean, you're right. If he were to pitch, he threw regularly 94 to 96. Has had his slider in a back pocket changeup. Like everybody throws a slider now or sweeper, whatever. But yeah, switch hitting with plus power and good hit tool. He's got a very quick swing, so like he gets the ball really fast. So like the exit velos are high. Hitting the ball hard is important, and MLB, most people like to look at that. Can you hit the ball hard? There's very few people like a Luis or Rice who don't hit the ball hard and succeed.
But
So
he's got a major league body too. He's already 6'2", 220. I mean, that's a kind. He looks like the kind of guy to me that you could see up next year. It's like we've seen with a lot of guys recently. It seems like.
yeah, Paul Skeens, what a story that is,
Or
man.
yeah, we've seen a bunch. I mean, White Langford came right up. It seems like we've had a bunch of guys last 2 or 3 drafts that have just flown through.
I mean, Montgomery is one of the guys that I'm hoping, if all of our, at least all of my top guys for us are gone, I'm hoping that he's one of the ones that's still available. Because
Oh,
I actually
absolutely.
have him dropping towards the back end of uh the top 10, personally.
Now I'm not going to spoil mine. I'll let you talk about Kurtz, Trevor, because I'm a Kurtz fan also.
I mean, it's like you said, with the A's, they're trying to like rebrand, so to speak. They're trying to get away from the Oakland, and they claim they're gonna focus on winning, but obviously doubt the money is going to follow that. But anyways, I mean, with Kurtz, you're getting such a good power, and like natural hitter. I mean, what, he's 6'5", so
Yep.
he's got that height. First base and outfield. I mean, pretty athletic, and like he was the leader, one of the leaders on that Wake Forest team. So like, not only are you getting a guy that knows how to hit, but you're getting a guy that can literally be like the captain of your team of the future that you can build around. And that's why I like Kurtz, and I just can't see him falling any farther than this if any team is like, self-respecting.
He led Division One in walks with 78.
Yep. I was going to bring that up too. He's got elite eye. He's got an elite eye and on base skills too, which is tough when you're like 6'5". You have such a big strike zone. It's hard to get those walks sometimes.
Yeah, he had that crazy home run streak too earlier this year.
Yeah,
Like
I wrote that in my
crazy.
stupid notes here. 14 home runs in 9 games.
Yeah.
Homered in 6 out of 7 at bats during that stretch. I
Well,
mean, probably best
crazy too.
power.
It's been since he was a freshman too. I mean, like he was first team all ACC as a freshman. Golden Spike semifinalist as well. I mean, like, you know, he I mean, he knows how to hit in those high leverage spots too, which is key. A lot of these guys, they'll get men on and they can hit the solo home runs, but when they got a man on third, they choke. Like Kurtz just knows how to bring guys in. I mean, I'm really high on him ultimately. If he manages to fall back to us, like that would be insane. I'm not expecting that by any
Would you
means.
take him over one of the pitchers?
Hmm?
Would you take him over one of the pitchers?
I mean, if Burns is available still, I'm taking Burns.
Okay.
There's a reason why I have Burns going before him here, you know. But
Right.
like, yeah, I have back-to-back Wake Forest guys going, and as a Miami fan, it pains me to have that there, especially considering I have a Florida guy going very soon as well. So,
Yeah, I have my Florida guy going right
but
now. So,
but I
uh,
mean, like that. I mean, that's why I'm used to seeing these guys. They're ACC, and like we play the Gators every year. So, like, I mean, I am very intimately knowledgeable of Wake Forest in Florida. But yeah,
I mean, yeah.
shoot on Jack.
So the deal with Jack Hagliano, and they've talked about him a lot as like the next Shohei, because he's
Jack
got the
Tani.
elite. Yeah, Jack Tani. He hits the 5. He could have hit almost 500 feet home runs, and he's got the pitching too. Um, with Oakland making the move to Vegas, I think a pick like Jack has like the most star power name potential with that too. Being able to like talk about like, hey, we got this next big two-way player who's going to be like the face future of our franchise. And I think along with possibly being the second, maybe best prospect in the draft, depending on who you ask, just because he does have the elite stuff as a pitcher. Now the stats don't back it up as much. He had like what did he have? Like,
Like a lot of control issues.
yeah, a lot of control issues. I was looking at it earlier.
Especially the fastball. You can't like
4.76 ERA, but the fastball hits upper 90s, can hit 100. He's got the slider. He
how
needs
much do
pop,
you think they let him
obviously, with the pitcher.
how
He's like a second round prospect pitcher and a first round prospect hitter. Big left-handed bat, plays first also, kind of similar to Kurtz, has that elite power. It's all fields, fast hands. He's already got Tommy John out of the way, so hopefully you don't have to worry about that again. But he's hit 30 plus home runs in the season in college too. So this is another guy that's just like top of the line. And with that two-way potential, I just think Oakland, soon to be Vegas, are going to want to market him and take him.
how much do you think they let him pitch? Do you think they'll let him do like the Mason Wynn thing where they kind of just test him out a little bit and then throw him in as a hitter, or do you think they actually like
I think they'll give him a legitimate shot because I think that's part of the reason to take him. I think like when they draft him and he's in the minors, I think they're going to let him pitch. And if it doesn't work
right?
out, it doesn't work out because he's a plus like first round bat anyway. But why not give him the chance? He's done it his whole career, so why stop now? Unless it doesn't work out, kind of like Mason Wynn, where he's just like, I'd rather hit.
Right.
But they've been marketing him as like like you said, Jack Tani, so might as well try.
All right, so with that, we are moving on to Chi-Town and the White Sox, who are picking at number 5. And I actually have them taking Jack here right after that. So I mean, since we pretty much just talked about him, I'll let you guys go with who you have getting picked here.
Go ahead, Zach.
I'd go with Jack as well. It was a toss-up. I was kind of thinking that maybe going Connor Griffin. I just maybe seen third team I could definitely see going under slot. But at the end of the day, I would think Jack drops any farther than that.
I have JJ Weatherholt.
Really?
Yep.
For what reasons?
I just think he was a consensus top 3 pick before the hamstring issues. Plays shortstop, second base at elite level, elite hit tool. He's been like talked about as maybe the best pure hitter in the entire draft. He can drive the ball hard to all fields. 10% miss rate in 2023, which is crazy good. So, like swinging, if you swing and you make contact 90% of the time, that's absurd. That's crazy. Like I said, elite bat to ball skills. He's a former Big 12 player of the year. He's got 30 plus steals in a season. He's got that 30-30 potential. And like Chicago, the way I view Chicago, especially right now, if they end up trading Luis Robert and Garrett Crochet, who's not big name, but he's a really good pitcher, they're going to need to draft someone to get butts in the seats again. And I think Weatherholt's a guy that's like that they can market as that guy.
That was going to be my point about Jack. Taking Jack there.
Jack's already gone from either.
100%. But that I was going to allude to that exact same point. That I think with them kind of doing their fire sale and the state of their franchise, they're going to need somebody there to get butts in the seats. And I think if he flies through the minors, I think he will, honestly. That's a dude you could definitely market around pretty quickly. And you need to get somebody who's going to be there kind of quickly. That's also one reason I kind of shied away from Connor Griffin. I think they probably want to get somebody that's going to make an impact sooner rather than later.
Yep, agree. That's the same reason I had with Vegas and the same reason I have with Chicago.
I mean, I like JJ. I just don't. I just feel that there's a few better guys in front of him, like Kurtz, that are gonna get chosen before his name gets called. But we'll see. You never know how these things are gonna play out, as we've said before. So, any final thoughts on pick 5, guys? I mean, we already covered Cags and now Weatherholt.
This is the biggest wild card pick, I think, thus far.
I mean, like if you're one of these top 5 teams, you're going to be extremely happy with any of the guys we talked about already. It's just crazy how deep this first 10 picks is in the draft.
100%. But yeah, those 3 guys I think go number 1 just about any other year.
Yep.
Alrighty, so moving on to number 6 and the Royals here. RJ, who do you have them choosing?
This is gonna break my heart, but I haven't taken Hagen Smith.
Okay.
My God. I mean, I'm just like logically it makes sense for them to take Hagen Smith. I personally think he could be the best pitcher, better than Chase Burns in this draft. He was just pitcher of the year in college baseball. 6'3" lefty, 65 grade fastball, 65 grade slider. He's got that splitter he can pull out of his back pocket. He already went through Tommy John in high school. He threw 7 no-hitters while he was in high school, by the way. He was a top-rated pitching prospect before he went to Arkansas. SEC Player of the Year. He led NCAA Division I in average against at 144. He broke a record in K rate, 17.3 Ks per 9. Sits 94 to 98 regularly, can touch 100 with his fastball. He's also got a wipeout slider. It just destroys the lefty batters. They have no chance. And he's got that funky arm slot. It's like the 3/4, so it's not completely over the top. So it's a little more deceptive than Chase Burns, I think. So it's just like he's got everything that I want out of the 7 pick. So hopefully the Royals don't take him, but I just don't see how they pass on him. If he's still there, I just don't see how they pass.
The only other guy I can see him taking is Rayner, but I think between the two, I don't see how they pass on Higgins Smith too, especially now that they're starting to win. They're really starting to turn it around. Higgins Smith could be starting there next year. So
Top
See,
line ace potential, yeah.
it's funny. I actually have Weatherholt getting taken here.
You know, they need a shortstop. If
yeah,
Weatherholt and Smith are both still there at 6, I hope they take Weatherholt because Hagen Smith is my number one guy I want the Cards to take.
So like that's the thing. Like I think I don't know if you are. I don't know how far you dropped Kurtz. Obviously, we'll get to that in a little bit as we keep going down. But like I kind of have this all playing out where I mean where we get Smith because like we said I see them taking Weatherhold here like especially with that bat and whatnot. I mean as great as Hagen is you know there's a reason why you had him getting taken at number 5 ultimately, you know?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, every team in this top 6 is going to be extremely happy. The way I have this draft playing out, I'm going to be happy with the 7 pick, but I would have been way happier if one of those 3 guys that I really want, Burns, Weatherholt, or Smith, were still there. I just don't see that playing out realistically, but I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. Just one of them be there still, please.
And so Zach, you have them taking Hagen Smith here too?
no, I had Higgins. Oh, the Royals, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I jumped ahead a little bit.
Who do you have them taking?
The Royals,
Yeah.
Higgins Smith.
Oh.
Sorry, yeah, I said I jumped ahead a little bit. So I was already on the next pick.
All right then. Well, let's move into the Cardinals. Obviously, we've gone over a lot of guys so far that we think are going to be off the board. For me personally, I still think Hagen's going to be there, so he's the guy that I think, you know, I would have them choose, but you know, let's say he's not there. I mean, let's say he isn't. Obviously, Kurtz is still available. Is that who you're having us go for?
I'm
Oh,
taking JJ. Sorry.
I'm glad we disagree. It makes for better content. JJ's off my board. I have them not taking Nick Kurtz also. I have them taking Braden Montgomery.
Hmm.
So
I wouldn't be mad with any one of those, honestly.
see, here's the thing about Nick Kurtz. I think it's between Braden Montgomery and Nick Kurtz. And we've talked about Kurtz already a little bit, but with Goldie, and we talked about this on the pod a few times now already. With Goldie being in the last year of his contract and Nick Kurtz being that big lefty power bat who sits in the middle of the order and takes walks, makes sense, right? First baseman of the future, potentially. But with all the tools Braden Montgomery has, which he has more tools than Kurtz, he doesn't have the power. He's got the slightly better hit tool. He makes better contact. He doesn't have that giant hole in the top of his swing on the upper part of the zone. That's been talked about a little bit. Switch hitter, outfielder, runs well, elite arm. I think they take Montgomery. He's more projectable, I think. But I really like Kurtz also. And I would not be upset if we took Kurtz, assuming the other 3 guys I really, really want are all gone.
I personally see Burley slotting in at first base long term. So and Burleson's that exact thing you just named, like middle of the order bat, gets on base, has power. Like he's that same kind of guy. So
Yeah, I mean, it could be too. And there's the wild card with
but we're
Murakami
just gonna keep adding.
maybe being posted in a year too, who I want the Cardinals to try to sign. Well, yeah,
Right,
we'll
I
see.
get.
It's
We'll
interesting.
just keep, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but we'll just keep adding to the middle infield depth. I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, what's one more?
yeah, yeah. You said Weatherholt, right? Like these are one
Yeah.
of the 3 guys I really want, but the 3 guys I really want, I don't see making it to us. So, who did he have picked, Trevor?
For
Oh, you said you have us
Yeah.
taking Hagen Smith, right? So
I have Hagen falling to us because I have Kurtz going so much earlier. So
that'd be
Hagen
beautiful.
actually falls to us based on how everything plays out and whatnot. Because again, I have Weatherholt fallen to KC with their need for that shortstop and whatnot. Um, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I mean, we're going to have a few different choices, and I mean, as long as we don't go with, somebody like, Connor Griffin with our pick and, like really lowball it, I'm going to be happy with, I think, whoever we end up getting on Sunday. What about you guys? What do you think?
Yeah, as long as I mean, here's the thing about Connor Griffin. We like taking those prep guys. Randy Flores has a history of kind of doing that a little bit. And he's supposed Connor Griffin, Bryce Rainer, like 1 and 2. Uh, they get flip-flopped a lot. Which one's better? Which high school player is better? So I could see that being a possibility if the two pitchers are gone and Weatherholt's gone and Kurtz is gone also. But
I
I really,
don't.
yeah,
We don't have a second round pick. I don't see us. If we had a second round pick, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we went with the best prep guy because you'd have the number one choice, whatever prep guy you want. But with us not having the second round pick, I don't see a world where we don't go with a college. Probably bad, especially if like we're saying both pitchers are gone.
If both pitchers are gone. I have Hagen being nice and available right there. And if we pass up on
right,
him
man.
there,
I
I will
really
be very mad if he's available and we
if
pass.
if one of those two guys is available, and I'm like 99% sure Chase Burns won't be, I could see Smith slipping. If he is available, it'd be malpractice to not take him at 7. It's a fireable offense.
Yeah. So let's move on past the Cardinals now. The pick that all of our fans actually cared about. And let's finish up our top 10. With number 8, we got the lowly Angels picking there, and I actually have them going out of high school with Bryce Rainer, the shortstop.
I think Connor Griffin.
He's a Cali guy too, Bryce Rainer, right? So
Yep.
right up the road from you. Here's where I have Kurtz going.
Ah,
They have a need there for the power with Trout, hopefully being healthy enough to play regularly still for the foreseeable future. I project him as being major league ready within a year or two at the most. Makes sense, and he's a lefty to pair up with Trout. So
I think they just drafted Schindel, so
what was that?
I said you said you had taken Kurtz.
I had him. Yeah, I haven't taken Kurtz. You guys have
Yeah,
Griffin and Rainer, right? So
yeah. I just saw they just drafted that Schwindel last year, and then he made his MLB debut like 2 weeks after, or something crazy like that. Yeah, they
yeah, it
thought
was. They fast tracked these guys.
As far as Rainer goes, like the reason just because, like you said, I am in SoCal here, so he's been getting talked up like a lot. LA Times did like a whole, article on the guy. So I mean, there's been a lot of local hype around him, and obviously with the Angels being, you know, his local team aside from the Dodgers, I could see them wanting to keep him around and whatnot. Um, but yeah, I mean, he's just a guy that, I mean, he was a pitcher, so you never know if they're gonna go back to using him that way. Um, but I mean,
Yeah, I was
yeah,
gonna bring that up too. He used to pitch and he threw in the mid 90s. Like he's 6'3" also, and he's left-handed. So like that's something that may be looked at once he's drafted.
I mean, he only stopped because he wanted to focus on his positional and hitting to, make himself a, higher prospect pick, especially out of high school and whatnot. So, I mean, could easily see him, like you said in the minors, testing out that arm, seeing if it's something he wants to do again.
And he's
Uh,
got the Corey Seager comps too, batting left-handed because he's the big, tall left-hander out of high school. So like if you comp to Corey Seager, you're doing something right.
Right.
that is true. That is pretty true. So yeah, that's just who I had them picking here ultimately.
Yeah, I took Connor Griffin. He's 6'4" at 18. I mean, dude's huge. So I don't see him sticking at shortstop being 6'4". Unless he's just like another like Ellie De La Cruz type guy. He's already 6'4", 215. So he's gonna keep getting bigger. So I probably see him moving out to a corner ultimately. But the dude's an athlete. I mean, he's got a 70 grade arm, 65 grade run, 60 grade power. Uh, I just think he's a big spark plug to be able to add to that outfield. Maybe hopefully pair up with Trout and maybe win a playoff game before the dude retires.
The Joe Adele, Mike Trout, Connor Griffin outfield.
Right? Connor Griffin has legit 30-30. I mean, him and Trout can both go 30-30 the same year if Trout ever stays healthy.
On the same team. I don't think that's ever happened before.
I
Correct
don't
me
think
if
so.
I'm wrong. Like I don't think this ever happened. Teammates.
Alrighty then. Any thoughts before we move on to 9?
I feel sorry for whoever the Angels draft. I'm sorry to rip the Angels and their fans. It's tough. Unless you're Mike Trout, it's tough.
Yeah. Good place to live, not a great team to be.
Which is, I think, like almost like putting like a dagger and it's like giving a Mike Trout, like you guys still don't get to win though. It's like having like Patrick Mahomes, so you're still the Browns.
Patrick Mahomes elevates his teams. It's not. Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying though. But yeah,
Yeah.
Alrighty, so on to pick number 9. We have another central opponent, our Pittsburgh Pirates picking here. And RJ, who do you have them taking, man?
This is where I have Connor Griffin going. Actually, who Zach just spent some time talking about, but like you said, he got the 30-30 potential. 6'4", he's 18. Like the Pirates have the time to develop these guys because they stink and they're young. And like even with Paul Skeens already being in the majors, he pitched less than a full year in the minors. So like they have time to develop some of these young guys, and it makes sense for him to take someone like this high end out of prep school because, like I say, he can hit for the power, he can steal bases, he plays Gold Glove caliber defense and center. Some scouts believe, and he's a plus defender at shortstop. Um, he's won what they won the last 2 state championships. He had 87 steals out of 88 attempts at one point in high school. Like he hits, he runs, he hits for power, he hits for average, gets on
huge.
base, steals bases, does everything. So it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense. I actually have them picking him here too, as well. I can't really see him dropping further here. I mean, I did still have Montgomery on the board, but I'll get to him in a second because I just think, like you said, they have enough time, and Connor is one of those projects that makes sense for them and whatnot.
And they'll save money by picking him too. So like
Yep.
they're notoriously cheap. Sorry, Pirates fans. It's just he's 18. Like he could realistically be ready in 2 to 3 years, and like you'll still get like the younger years out of Skeens and O'Neal Cruz, and you'll be fine. Like like I said, it makes sense. So like, and we have like superstar talent out of high school, um, and the people that I have gone are already gone. That's like your best bet to drafting is a star player. So
Yeah.
And this is where I have Nick Kurtz going. I see him hitting some cannonballs into the freaking Allegheny. So I see him falling. I've seen a lot of mocks where he's been falling as well. I just see, based on the way it looks like it's going to shake out, he has the best chance of being the dude who kind of slips down. Him and Montgomery, I can see both kind of falling just like how you have Trevor. But as you guys alluded to, led the nation in walks, plus power. Dude's just an overall hitter. He plays good first base. I hate it just seeing Paul Skeens and Nick Kurtz being able to be paired up there, and both probably fast tracked within a year and a half. But I think he's too good to pass. Far too good to pass by pick number 9.
yeah, if Kurtz is still there for Pittsburgh at 9, that would be a really good pick for him too, because that is someone like that could be in the majors really quickly too.
Yeah. I already have him gone there. So,
Yep, he was just gone for me too. So
perfect. Alrighty then. So rounding out the end of the top 10, we have the Washington Nationals picking here. I have them taking Braden Montgomery at this point at number 10. I mean, we've already discussed what he brings to the table. Ultimately, I just don't see him dropping out of the, top 10 ultimately.
I think we have the same top 10, just in a different order. But this is where I have Bryce Rayner, your Cali kid. It's just, we talked about him already, right? Like he's got the Corey Seager comps. He's got consistent hard contact all over the field. At the NHST, so like he had the top 4 exit velos there of all the high schoolers. So National High School Invitational, or NHSI, I'm sorry. National High School Invitational. I just was reading my handwriting. My eye looked like a T because it's terrible. But yeah, this is a guy that just smashes the ball everywhere. And like you said, they have the time to develop him there also. And he's too good to fall out of the top 10 in my eyes.
Yeah, when in doubt, draft prep shortstops. That great athlete, like you said, big arm, big power. Corey Seager comps. This is one of the best top 10s that I remember in the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, and they have CJ Abrams, but if it doesn't work out at shortstop, play him at second too. So like
that's what I'm saying. But when in doubt, shortstops, center fielders, you can move them all over the place.
Yeah.
you'd have a middle infield there in Washington with him and Abrams. That'd be something.
Yeah, they saw like Brady House coming through and stuff. They saw some guys that play those positions.
So is that who you have them picking as well there, is Rayner?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Alrighty then. Perfect. Any final thoughts on this 10? I know, like we mentioned, like this is really one of the most front stacked we've seen in a while. So lucky for us, we have a top 10 pick ultimately.
Yeah, I don't think any team's gonna be upset unless they do something crazy like draft a Vance Honeycutt or something because he had a good playoff run. I don't see how anyone could go wrong.
Right. It's a weird year where wouldn't be mad if we took any one of the guys we chose for the top 10.
Yeah.
Like realistically,
I would, one of them Smith was available though. That's what would make me upset.
100%. But under the right circumstance, I wouldn't be mad if we took even one of the prep guys. They're all really high upside players.
Yeah, I want to echo what you just said there, RJ. I will not be upset if they take any of these guys as long as they don't pass on
Right.
at 7 if he's available. That's it.
I with Randy and now Hahn Bloom, they're gonna pick the right guy. I mean, they've been picking the right guy at 18 to 24 for the last decade. I mean, you go a top 7 pick, I just don't see them overthinking it or screwing it up.
Yeah, how about Chase Davis, who's been on fire lately too, right? We all thought he was going to have a bum season. He's turned it around real quick.
Yeah, like him, McGreevy, and Thompson are probably the worst picks they have. They're all like major league caliber players. I mean, they're not. I mean, Chase Davis still has time to tell, but as far as McGreevy and Thompson are concerned, major league caliber players. So I mean, I trust our guys.
I did want to ask you guys, realistically, your dream scenario, your top 3 guys that the Cardinals would take if they were available would be.
If they were available?
Yes, if they're the realistic ones. Condon, Bazana, Jack, not realistic, but realistic.
I mean, Hagen, Kurtz, and who would I want third?
I view Burns as
Weatherholt.
You have Weatherholt over Burns?
Yeah. I don't see Burns being available.
You don't think that's realistic? I think it's kind of.
If Burns is available, he would be in there, but I just don't see Burns making it out of the top 5 ultimately.
It's fair.
Yeah,
One of those two Wake Forest guys is going in the top 5. Mark my word.
Oh, I believe that also. I'm just
I
hoping.
think they both can. I mean, real
I have them going back to back. Ultimately, I mean,
so
I have poor Burns at 3 to Colorado.
yeah. So, but for me, it just depends on like the wording of your question, RJ. So if it's like
I view
how
the 3
realistic are we
unrealistic
talking?
ones. The 3 like absolutely no shot they slip are Condon, Bazana, and Jack. Those are the 3 like off limits. There's no
Those,
way to get to 7.
yeah, I mean
Anyone else
those
is
would be
on the
my
table.
I just have Burns going so early. I don't see him dropping like double the picks down there.
hopefully if
Because
he
that
does
means
like
that
two more rounds.
everybody else is passing on Burns too, and then I start to worry about why is everybody else passing on Burns
But
too.
here's the thing though, like because Condon, Bazana, I think are pretty consensus 1-2. If Colorado gets smart and like maybe we shouldn't draft a pitcher and they do take a hitter, I could see like teams like Oakland, Chicago, KC underslotting and Deep Burns slipping. That's why I think it's realistic if he makes it past Colorado, just based on like the history of these other teams drafting before us. That's how I see it. Like I have him going 3, but I think it's possible. I think it's possible him or Smith slit. So like I would go Smith, Burns, Weatherholt, 1, 2, 3, if any of them are available. Personally, that's just how I
Yeah,
see it.
I think anything's realistic other than like you said, Bazana and Congdon. I think even Jack's. I think there's an outside world where maybe he's possibly could, but I don't see it happening really. But
It's not
after that,
happening.
there's everything's pretty realistic at that point, you know.
Yeah.
So, what would you be your top 3 then on the
I
spot?
Weatherholt, Montgomery, Kurtz. Uh, if I'm not taking a picture, but probably Hagen on top of all those guys, I guess.
Okay,
I, I didn't take picture first, but yeah, so Hagen, then Weatherholt, Montgomery.
I
All
like it.
right. Perfect. So that'll wrap it up for us and this top 10 mock discussion draft that we had. So we will be coming back to you later in the next week with a recap of how things shook out, as well as all of the Cardinals draft players. So be on the lookout for that. For those of you that are Blues fans as well, we also have our recap of the Blues draft up, so feel free to check that out. And don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see y'all next time. Take care and have a good one.
Peace.
Yes.